I think there's currently 3 winners in the Drake and Kendrick beef, and I don't think it's either of them. Now, I know most of the people who follow me are not generally hip-hop people, but I have been following this religiously because it's so interesting. So I will shortly recap the whole beef as I talk about my thoughts on it. So J. Cole had a feature on a Drake song, and he said that they were the big 3 of rap. He referenced J. Cole and Drake as part of the big 3, and Kendrick took offense to that. So Kendrick featured on a Metro Future song where he said, "It's not big 3, it's just Big B." Then J. Cole released a diss track called 7 Minute Drill on a surprise album called Might Delete Later. Funny because he did delete later. A few days after he dropped, he went up on stage and he said, "I want to protect my peace. This doesn't sit well with my soul. I'm sorry, big dog Kendrick. I'm going to delete that." That brings us to our first winner in the whole situation, J. Cole, because he had the foresight, or somebody told him, that this was not worth it. J. Cole wins mostly because he gets his name mentioned in every single video that's talking about this beef, but he's not getting any slander. I mean, he's catching a couple of strays later on, but nothing bad. J. Cole's a wimp, and that's like the extent of it, which is honestly the best outcome you could have in this whole situation. After J. Cole apologized, Drake dropped a diss where he started addressing a bunch of people. Most of the people involved in this album dissing Drake are completely unimportant to the rest of this beef, except for Metro, the producer. And in Drake's first diss track, he says, "Metro, shut your hoe ass up and make some drums." And everybody was like, Metro's in a catch-22, right? He can't go make some drums and he can't start rapping. If he makes some drums, then he's doing exactly what Drake told him to. If he starts rapping and is good at it, then Drake will have started his rap career. Kendrick takes a long time to respond, so Drake drops a second track where he has AI Tupac and AI Snoop Dogg. There's not too much important about this except for the AI Tupac being a part of that. And important to note that Snoop Dogg and Tupac are both West Coast rappers where Kendrick is from. Kendrick waits 3 weeks after the original drop with a song called Euphoria. Euphoria is hater anthem of the summer. It's got like 3 beat switches in it. It's 7 minutes long, and he just tears into Drake. Important to note in Euphoria, big critiques coming from Kendrick's camp are he's a culture vulture, changes his accent all the time to try and fit in with American hip hop, and he's white. He's half white, and Kendrick is like, "We don't like the way you say the N-word. You're not really black. How many black features do you need before you're black enough?" A lot of critiques on him being half white and not truly being a part of an African American culture, but being a Canadian who's mixed. Kendrick doesn't let that sit for very long before he releases a second diss track 3 days later, which is called 616 in LA. This is like whereas Euphoria was a diss track where he's kind of being silly a little bit with it, like taking fun jabs. This one is like, seriously, you have an informant in your camp who's telling me everything about you, and if you don't stop, I will leak everything. Drake doesn't even wait a day before he drops a song called Family Matters, in which accusations thrown out against Kendrick are one of his kids is not his and he beats his wife. Part of the problem from this point on in the beef is that there's no concrete evidence on anything that's been said. Because of that, it's like, who knows what to believe. I have heard very valid critiques. Shout out Christian. He has brought up a great point, which is Kendrick stands on a moral high ground in a lot of his rap and where he comes from, that if these are true allegations, he has a much further way to fall. Whereas a lot of things at this point that are said about Drake are just kind of Drake's personal persona. Kendrick unprivates a diss track 30 minutes after Family Matters comes out called Meet the Grahams. If you don't know, Drake's name is Aubrey Graham. This is a diss track, just a letter written to his family, written to his son saying, "I'm sorry your dad sucks," a letter to his dad saying, "I'm sorry your son sucks," a letter to his mom saying, "I'm sorry your son sucks," and then a letter to his 11-year-old daughter who he's hiding. If you don't know, Adonis, the first person I named his son, was hidden from the world until Pusha T brought him up in Drake's last beef, exposing him to the world. So now he's accusing there's a second kid that has been being hid. So while we have no proof of this, it is very believable because it would be the second time. Notice that I said unprivated. He had recorded and posted this video to YouTube, and he was just waiting for Drake to respond. So chances are when he came out with 616 in LA and he was warning about the nuke, this is probably what he was talking about. I think this was one of the biggest missteps of the whole beef because in my opinion, this did not match the energy of any of the rest of the beef. And I love the menacing nature of this diss track, but at the same time, I think that it didn't feel like a good response to Family Matters. I think that he should have held on to it until he released the next day another diss track called Not Like Us, which is a West Coast club banger. And the whole song is, you're a pedophile. Your whole camp is pedophiles. You're pedophiles. It's incredibly catchy and just straight up says what we've all been thinking about Drake for a long time. But again, nothing at this point has any proof shown. So who knows if he's just saying it to troll, but it feels like a much better response to Family Matters. And I think he should have released this one the day after. Later that day, dropped Meet the Grams. I feel like it would have been a much better play. Personally, a lot of people have brought up the fact that this is very important to bring up that it's a West Coast banger because Kendrick keeps talking about how Tupac is rolling in his grave because of the whole AI thing, and Drake using the two West Coast rappers' AI voices against him. Kendrick is showing this is my culture, Compton, West Coast hip hop. This is where I come from. This is my culture, and you don't have it. Like, Toronto doesn't have a rap scene. That's where you're from. You're stealing American rap, right? He even brings up, he's kind of like rap Taylor Swift, where he takes young artists and kind of some of their vibe from them to like give him more street cred and credibility with a younger audience. After this, Metro Boomin comes back, which is why I told you it was important, and he releases the song you've probably heard everywhere, BBL Drizzy. This is a beat challenge that he releases on X, where he says, here's a beat that I made, everyone can use it for free. The person who writes the best diss track on this beat gets a free beat. He's actually upped it, I think, to a free beat and $1,000, and then second place also gets a free beat. Basically, he said, you too can diss Drake. Get on it in the action, and too many civilians are a part of this now. The guitarist from Polyphia made a guitar solo over the beat. It is getting way too many people who should be nowhere near a rap beef into this rap beef, and it's kind of the ultimate move. That's why I say the second out of the three winners is Metro Boomin, because there's nothing that young people seem to love more than a meme song and a TikTok trend. Metro managed to do both while making fun of Drake and making him look corny. If Drake does not fall from grace as a direct effect of this beef with Kendrick, he will in the next 3 to 5 years, because I promise you this BBL Drizzy beat will negatively impact his album sales with younger audiences. He will no longer be cool, and I think one of the only reasons he's considered one of the big three is because of it's really hard to argue commercial success. But if young people stop buying his albums, he will no longer have that same commercial success. Metro is under backlash because one of the main critiques against Drake at this point is the pedophilia thing. And there have been some old tweets surfaced from Metro that are pretty predator-ish. Songs calling him Metro Groomin are starting to come out. So overall, he's not winning entirely, but when it comes to strictly the Drake beef, he is winning. Then Drake came out with his most recent diss track called The Heart Part 6, and that's a reference to The Heart Part 1 through 5 from Kendrick. The problem with this diss track is that, again, we have no proof of anything, but now Drake is claiming, I planted the evidence about the 11-year-old. No, I'm not a pedophile. I don't think Millie Bobby Brown is pretty. And the problem with that is nobody said Millie's name. So people are like, you're making yourself look worse. And people are calling it the deny track, the track. It's really getting clowned on a lot from Kendrick's side, but a lot of Drake's side is like, see, look, he's a mastermind. But again, we don't have any proof at this point. So he can just claim, yeah, I planted that information. A lot of people are like, where's the screenshots? Where's the foresight to record a video? He should have done what Kendrick did, recorded the song saying, you're stupid, we planted the evidence. Even if it was a minute-long song, just being like, ha 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 ha, stupid, had it privated the same way he did, and then just unprivated it right after Kendrick unprivated his video, if he knew that was what was going on. So I don't know. I'm waiting for proof. I think that the only way we know who truly wins in like this slander campaign, when evidence starts to come out between Kendrick and Drake. But when it comes to rapping, just straight rapping and diss tracks, I think Kendrick's winning. But I think the ultimate third winner that I was going to say is us, the rap fans, who've gotten like 10 10 new diss tracks out of one beef. I've never heard of this many diss tracks. I've never watched a beef unfold in live time like this, and we are so absolutely blessed.